A tort is a civil action, for some sort of wrong that someone causes against someone's person, property, or dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That can be negligent or intentional.
Right.
So, we can kind of brush on negligence a little bit. In fact, if you just want to kind of talk about negligent acts a little bit, then we can kind of move on to intentional, which are some of the more interesting torts that people maybe not have heard about or know about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, negligence is just, it's kind of intuitive what it means, just being reckless or, I guess unwise to say it in a nice way. But basically, it's the elements are duty, breach, causation, and damages. Someone, just put it simply, someone did something dumb and it caused injury or some kind of harm. But that's just unintentional torts, generally speaking. And then intentional torts are assault, battery, false imprisonment, trespass to land, trespass to chattel. Pretty much for our purposes, the only most likely, it's going to be probably assault and battery that we would handle. False imprisonment, probably
pretty
less,
rare.
Less likely. But when it comes to intentional torts, at least what I've noticed is that usually there's kind of a combination of the two. So in the scenario where, let's just say a bar fight occurs where an employee or an agent, someone acting on an entity's behalf, like a bouncer or someone like that, does an intentional tort like assault and battery, or I guess in that false imprisonment, if they kind of, put them in the back, don't leave, you're going to stay here overnight or whatever. So that would be an intentional tort by an individual. And if the entity was responsible for that vicariously, it would probably be through some form of negligence, like inadequate training, inadequate vetting, hiring someone with a record for violence or, someone improper vetting, lack of security, just something that basically with due diligence and like reasonable preparation and standard and expected running of a business, so to speak, just depending on what the business is, it should have been avoided.
Yeah. Like you said, they do kind of merge a little bit. But the intentionals are, I would imagine, in our practice, they're a lot more rare.
Oh, yeah.
We probably spent a lot of time talking about them in law school.
Mm-hmm.
But they are a little bit more rare. And, part of that is, like you said, there's elements to negligence, duty, breach, which like you were just talking about in that hypothetical, if a bar negligently hires somebody, then they had a duty to its customers to hire people who are qualified, and then they breach that duty. So, if they cause damage, then that's going to cause the negligence.
Right. A reasonable person would expect that when they go into a bar, a bouncer's not going to just beat them up unless it's really, really necessary, or just not at all.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
And, what's kind of weird I remember about from, law school and just in practice knowing this too is, there's a separation of assault and battery in tort law versus criminal. In criminal law, people always think assault and battery.
Yeah, this was
that's what the charge.
Law school.
Yeah, the charge is assault and battery. But in tort law, assault is the apprehension of the contact. So like
imminent.
Yeah, if someone rears back and is going to hit you, threatening you, saying I'm going to hit you, and then they rear back until the moment that their fist hits your face. That's the assault.
Assault.
That apprehension of being touched in an inappropriate way, or harmful way is the assault. The problem with it in practice is there's really no damages, So these things exist in law, but they may not be in practice used in lawsuits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it would be a rare. With an assault case without just standing alone, it would probably have to be a situation where there was severe emotional distress and some kind of impact. Mm-hmm. Maybe just emotional distress, but then you kind of do need some form of contact to really to make that. But
so you need the battery too.
Yeah,
and the battery is that harmful touching,
right?
Or unwanted touching. It doesn't have to necessarily hurt you, but it has to be unwanted, and